BSA training for volunteers. BSA is often extremely daunting because it has so many terms and so much involved. However, in this video, we are going to simplify BSA down to the level that you, as a volunteer, needs to understand. BSA stands for Bank Secrecy Act. BSA has been around for many years. In 1970, Congress passed the Currency and Foreign Transaction Reporting Act, commonly known as Bank Secrecy Act, which established requirements for record keeping and reporting by financial institutions. Since then, there has been several augments to this regulation. Today, BSA is focused on stopping money laundering that supports illegal activities such as drug trafficking and terrorism. Money laundering is a criminal practice of filtering dirty money through a series of transactions so that the funds are cleaned to look like legitimate activities. The government takes these regulations very serious. NCUA has the power to impose fines, civil penalties, or criminal penalties, both to the individuals, including associates, managers, and volunteers, and impose fines on the credit union for BSA violations. Some examples of BSA penalties towards financial institutions are: Riggs Bank had to pay a $25 million civil penalty for failure to properly file suspicious activity reports. And AM South Bank paid a total of $50 million for Bank Secrecy Act violations. But the penalties are not just limited to the financial institution. If it is determined that you, as a volunteer, makes decisions to willfully violate BSA responsibilities, penalties can reach up to $500,000 and or up to 10 years in prison. Of course, in our compliance, we prevent ourselves from receiving civil and criminal penalties. The government has created several tools to help us both comply with BSA and to help prevent money laundering. The first tool is the CTR. CTR stands for Currency Transaction Report. This report is filed on any cash transaction that is more than $10,000 made in any one day by any person or on behalf of any one person. That means $10,000 and 1 cent. The next tool is the SAR. Officially, the SAR stands for Suspicious Activity Report. But in this business, unofficially, it is referred to as something ain't right. We file the SAR when we feel that there is something not right with the transaction or the account. This includes things such as structuring, which is arranging deposits to avoid filing a CTR, such as making the deposit just under the over $10,000 mark. Suspicion that the funds were derived from an illegal activity. The transaction has no business or apparent lawful purpose. Or you can determine no reasonable explanation for the transaction. But these are all reasons that you can file a SAR, but there are circumstances where you must file a SAR. You must file a SAR for insider abuse in any amount, which means associates, managers, and volunteers. You must file for violations aggregating $5,000 or more when a suspect can be identified. Examples would include check fraud or forgery and we know who did it. Also, violations aggregating $25,000 or more, regardless of a potential suspect. Transactions aggregate $5,000 or more that involve potential money laundering or a violation of the Secrecy Act. There are also two additional facts that you need to know about SARS. First is safe harbor. Safe harbor provides protection from civil liability for the credit union and the employee for all suspicious activity reporting, assuming that such reporting is filed in good faith, assuming that the suspicious activity is truly suspicious activity. The second fact, and probably the most important, is that of non-disclosure. Non-disclosure means that you are not allowed to tell someone who is the subject of a SAR filing about the SAR. This act is illegal and would be deemed as a willful violation of BSA regulations. Another tool we use to help stop money laundering is the OFAC list. OFAC stands for Office of Foreign Asset and Control. The Office of Foreign Asset and Control is part of the U.S. Department of Treasury and is responsible for administering and enforcing economic sanctions placed on countries and individuals. The specific tool we use is the OFAC list. This list, which is created by the Office of Foreign Assets and Control, dictates who we cannot do business with. The individuals on this list include known terrorists, drug traffickers, and those engaging in activities related to the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Simply put, these are very bad people. We check the OFAC list on all new accounts we open. This includes both individuals and business accounts. We also check on all large cashier's checks to non-members. We also check all of our members with each update to the OFAC list and perform a semi-annual scrub to verify none of our existing members have been added to the OFAC list. The final tool that we will cover is CIP. CIP stands for Customer Identification Program. As the name suggests, this is the process of identifying our customers in an attempt to prevent identity theft. By verifying the customer's identity, we deter money launderers from opening multiple fraudulent accounts for the purpose of washing dirty money through. CIP requires that on all personal accounts we gather and verify name, date of birth, physical address, and identification number, such as a social security number. And for business accounts, we gather the business's legal name, the business's address, and the business's taxpayer identification number. Though there remains many terms and many facets of BSA, this training has really simplified it down to what BSA truly means for you as a volunteer here at the credit union.